Hey brother. Ben, I'm afraid I've been thinking. A dangerous pastime? I know. But what are all these villains' end goals? I know one that is only so-so. See, the wheels in my head have been turning since I watched your last video. I've gathered the facts and they do not add up, so right now I'm recording a very poorly sung song. I'm so sorry. Can we roll the intro, please? Please! Ben, today we are going to examine one of my favorite Disney villains, if you can call him that, Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Here's the spit, or should I say expectoration. I'm especially good at expector. No, none of that. Oh! God, I'm trying to defend you, frack! If you're unfamiliar with Gaston, he's basically the best in his town at everything. And he's very aware of it. He's incredibly well built, an excellent hunter, incredibly charismatic, and possesses tremendous leadership qualities, which we can see very clearly when he rallies the entire town to march through a wolf-infested forest to a castle they don't even know about to slay a monster. I mean, Ben, it's hard to get me off the couch to go get something like ice cream, much less, kill a mythical beast. And it's not for no reason. The beast kidnapped one of the most well-known people in town. Important enough that the townsfolk spent an entire morning singing about her. Bonjour! In any other story, Gaston would be the hero. In fact, even at the end in his final fight with the beast, the movie strongly implies that the only reason he's winning at the beginning is because the beast isn't fighting back because he's suffering from a broken heart or something like that. This is made even more clear when at the end of the fight, the beast actually starts fighting back and quickly wins, nay, kills his opponent, but not before Gaston gets in a few last good shots. I mean, he's not completely worthless. But what does that mean, Ben? It means that in this David vs. Goliath story, Disney has us rooting for Goliath. And he wins by murder. I mean, what kind of Disney ending is that? That'd be like if when you were watching The Karate Kid, you were rooting for the Cobra Kai, and they won by killing Danielson. Spoiler alert. Ben, many people are quick to jump on Belle for falling for Stockholm Syndrome, the act of identifying with, thinking positively of, or in this case, falling in love with your captor. But Ben, I would argue that we, the audience, are all victims of Stockholm Syndrome. Every experience you have with any other Disney movie would tell you that the Beast is the villain, and yet we're all rooting for him. We're all on his side. We are all victims. But in any case, the movie considers Gaston the villain, which brings me back to my original question. What is his end game? Because it doesn't really make much sense. His end goal is pretty clear. He wants to marry Belle and he's willing to do anything to achieve this, including blackmailing her into doing so by threatening to throw her father in the loony bin unless she concedes. And if you're thinking to yourself, wow, ransoming her father for her? Are you sure he's not the villain? Let me remind you that earlier in the film, another character, the Beast, did exactly the same thing. Actually, really, I'm starting to wonder if there are any heroes in this film or if it's just all villains. But let's imagine she agrees to this and marries Gaston against her will. What's your plan then, Gaston? Live a loveless marriage? I mean, how are you supposed to have all of those kids if your wife won't even touch you? Although, come to think of it, his catchphrase is, no one says no to Gaston, so that could be kinda rapey. Okay, they're both villains, but my point still stands. What is the point of trying so hard to be with someone when they clearly don't want to be with you? It doesn't make sense. Nothing in this movie makes sense, in fact. Like the opening sequence, for example, where the prince refuses to let an old woman into his castle, and as punishment is transformed into a beast unless he can find true love by the age of 21. 21? What kind of age range is that? Who has found their true love by the time they're 21? That sucks. Now, the film is taking place right before the prince's 21st birthday, and at one point in the film, Lumiere says, for 10 years we've been rustying, meaning that 10 years ago, when the spell was cast, the prince was 11. What kind of message is it to tell 11-year-olds that if you don't let strangers into your house, you'll be turned into a monster? And that brings up another question. Why is he even opening the door? Judging by all of the animated plates and stools and candelabras running around the castle, he had an enormous staff of maids and butlers whose job should be exactly that. Opening the door. And for that matter, who were this kid's parents? And why did they never return? And what on earth is he even supposed to be prince of? The people in the neighboring town, not half a day's ride through a wolf-infested forest away, don't even seem to be aware that this castle exists. And if they do, they're showing no concern for their missing king or queen. Or prince. And at the end of the day, he shouldn't have let the witch in. She was a witch. She did cast an evil spell on him. That's why you don't let strangers in. Oh, this movie makes no sense. Told ya. Thinking. Dangerous pastime. Then my question for you and everybody else is, what do you think? Is Gaston unfairly cast as the villain? Are there two villains? Are there any heroes? Does anything in this movie make sense at all? Let me know down in the towel section below, and I will see you in another life, brother.